everybody. We have been putting away some groceries. We went to the grocery this morning again. We spent a few days working on the computers, didn't really film anything. But I've been trying to dive into getting to know our electrical system. And the reason for that is because it's a new electrical system and some things did not seem right to me. Everything is off, shore power's off. All of the inverters, every breaker is off, nothing is on. We're actually just working by flashlights right now. And it actually says that we are pulling 3 amps right now, the battery monitor. Now the battery monitor is just a calculation. There's an algorithm that estimates it. It is only for end user monitoring of the battery system. It has nothing to do with the actual battery charging or depletion or anything like that. All it is a shunt, which is right here on the negative side of the battery system. And through this little circuitry right here that goes over to that battery monitor and then the algorithms that do the computing, all it does is tell you how many amps are being pulled out of the batteries or how many amps is going into the batteries. And then it uses that information to calculate like how much state of charge you have in percentage from 0 to 100 and how much time you have left in the batteries depending on how much amperage you're drawing at any given time. And so what this is just a clamp you can put around any 12 volt DC wire or just DC wire, and it'll tell you how many amps that is going through. So here is the shunt, which is what the battery monitor is reading off of. You can see we're only pulling 0.3 amps right now. And I'm assuming that the 0.3 amps is just because of we have the battery management system, the BMS, we have the battery protect, and this is another device that connects the two battery systems, the starter and the house battery, to charge the two. And I'm assuming that this 0.3 of an amp is just the running cost of having these things up and running. I think it's safe to say that we can do a zero current calibration on the batteries. 3 amps is not giving us an accurate, calculation. All right, Parker, I know you're excited to have more technical things to talk about, but let's try and explain this in a way that is a bit easier for everyone else to understand. Boundless has 2 battery banks. The first is a single battery specifically for starting the engine, the starter battery. And the other is the house bank, and it is charged with supplying 12 volt DC electricity to the house. All of the lighting, fans, refrigeration, water pumps, sailing instruments, navigation, autopilot. Oh we're sailing. Oh. Well, you get the picture. Our battery monitor takes data from the batteries via this thing called a shunt and tells us in real time how many amps we are pulling from or putting into the batteries, and other things like battery voltage, total consumed amp hours, and time remaining. The accuracy of the battery monitor can drift over time, becoming less accurate, which is, I'm assuming, the reason we are being told 3 amps is being continuously pulled from the house bank, even though my amp clamp says 0.3 amps. This is where a manual zero current calibration comes into play. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go into the app and we're going to see if I can reprogram this battery monitor so we can get a more accurate representation of the state of charge of our batteries. All right, so here we are in the Victron app and we can see everything transmitting Bluetooth data on our boat. I'm going to connect to the BMV, which is the battery monitor. Here in the settings, we will find the zero current calibration. And here's where it gets interesting. This is where the app tells us something that is really helpful. It warns that a zero current calibration will only be accurate if there is truly zero current flowing. The only way to be sure of this is to disconnect the system negative from the shunt and therefore shutting down the entire system. So it is here that I backed out of the calibration and disconnected the system negative. Okay, so you can see here, per those instructions, I have disconnected the system side of the shunt, and it is still reading 2.77 amps. And let's follow here. That is this one right here. All the negatives for the whole battery system collect right here at this load ground. And then this single heavy wire comes over here to the system side of the shunt. So now we are going to, well, it's raining in here. Let's close this a little bit. There we go. So now you can see the 2.67 amps is the 3 amps minus the baseline running cost of 0.3 amps. So the battery monitor has drifted a whole 2.67 amps from when the system was started up a few years ago until now. A battery monitor falsely telling you that you are continuously pulling almost 2.7 amps 24 hours a day would make you think your system is always at a lower charge than it actually is. Which is, I suppose, better than if it were telling you that there was more charge than there actually was. So now this is reading correctly. So this is 0.38, that's what it should be. And here it's reading, yeah, there we go. All right, so we have successfully calibrated it. When I disconnected the negative side of the system, though, it shut all of these, the BMS and the battery protect and the Cyrix and everything. It shut all that stuff off. And what I didn't want to do when I zero calibrated everything was by leaving all that on, it would have canceled out this reading here. But by taking the system side off of the shunt, like the app prompted me to, I cleared it, I zero calibrated it, and it showed 0, but then when I hooked it back up, now all these things, all these devices came back up online, and we're reading this 0.3 of an amp right here. And so now I think we have a much more accurate reading as far as amperage draw and amperage being put into the batteries, which is really cool. So, all right, there we go. So we can take this off of here now. Okay, so we're gonna turn the batteries back on. There we go. And there's no change because no breakers are on. Then we're gonna turn this on, the refrigerator number 1 and refrigerator number 2. Okay. And there we go. So both refrigerators are on now. We're pulling 12 amps because they're about 6 amps a piece. And then we're going to turn things like the water pressure back on. You can see that. There we go. And the lights, port and starboard. Cool. Turn this back on even though I have the inverter and the charger off right now. I don't want any charging happening, so I just want to see what we're pulling from the batteries. So you can see this thing is running. And then we're gonna turn the solar back on, which is this breaker right here. So this disconnects the solar panels. So you'll see this thing start blinking again. Okay. Turn some lights on again. Got to get to know our new boat home. So, what are you doing over here, sweetie?
I'm cleaning my teeth.
Oh.
I'm a high maintenance, low maintenance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you like to pamper yourself.
I wouldn't call just keeping my face clean pampering. I would say to me it's hygiene, and it makes me feel good. So that way I just I never wear any makeup or anything like that.
Oh, you look beautiful.
Yeah, I'm almost done, but you don't have to film me doing this.
Okay. I calibrated our batteries.
I heard the whole story.
Nice. I know you're so interested.
The boat's big, not that big. I can still hear it.
Good rainy day activity. Anyway, hope you all are enjoying your day wherever you're at. We just released the last video of Seawind and we're getting some really nice comments about it. It's a very nostalgic time for us. When I made this video this past week, you know, we're living on this boat now and I'm making the last video of selling Seawind, and it's emotional and I'm getting some really nice comments from you all, so thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay, well, this is the old water heater, and it is leaking. The tank is leaking. I think a day or two before we came down here for the sea trial, Julian and Colin texted us or called us and said, hey, the water heater's leaking, and so they bought a new one and had it shipped here. It's been sitting in a box in the quarter berth on the other side of the boat, and today our project is to replace this thing with the new one. It's a different shape. This is a round one. I'm pretty sure this is the original tank. It looks like it's a really, really high quality tank, but unfortunately the tank is leaking and that is not repairable. So we have a new tank. It is a square tank in, like, I think it's an aluminum housing. So it's going to be a smaller footprint. This is a 10 gallon. The new one is, I think, a 6 gallon. I've already looked at all the connections and it looks like it's pretty much a plug and play. I don't think I'm going to have any retrofitting with like adapters. It looks like all the like half-inch is half-inch on the new one. When I say half-inch, I mean like the standard pipe thread. And the electrical connections will be just, you know, the new junction box. And there's one complicating factor, and that is the fact that the coolant in the engine runs through the water heater here. The radiator fluid in the beta engine, when it gets hot, it also circulates through here. So we have indirect heating from the engine heat while the engine is running. So that's one plus of the way these marine hot water heaters are plumbed. I don't want to introduce much air into the system. I'm not really sure how sensitive the beta and the water jacket is to like air locking. One thing that I noticed that they did do, and I think it is because of the location of the water heater being above the level of the engine, they have this header tank right here. It is part of the closed cooling system for the engine, and this here is above the tank itself. So I think that is to prevent air locking, because it is the highest point for bubbles in air to migrate to in the system. We're gonna get to it. All right, here we go. Are you all right? Yeah. You really got your Achilles there, huh?
Yeah.
All right. And it's just that simple. All right, we are back from the bilge. That was successful. We swept out with our wet dry back the little bit of coolant that had gotten down into the bilge. So that's good. What I did was beforehand I shut off the bilge pumps just in case it were to be enough volume of liquid that it would have automatically come on. I didn't want it to be pumped overboard, so now we have it safely in a bucket. So now we're back here. While we've been doing that, I've had a fan drying all this out in here, and I just wanted to kind of talk to you guys a second about some of the design feature. One of the design features of this boat that I really like, if you read any articles about the Passport 42, they talk about longitudinal stringers running the length of the hull on each side, basically pieces of wood that are like fiberglass to the hull. What it does is that it adds rigidity to the hull. And what I wanted to show you was one of these stringers, actually two of them, and because I'm in this area and I've removed the old water heater and it's all opened up, you can actually see it. So this is the plywood floor, and actually this floor here is the level of the floor in the boat, okay? So you can see here, wood, this is covered with fiberglass. But this is one of the longitudinal stringers here that this plywood is actually sitting on top of. And so this runs, it follows the curve of the hull and runs back. This is a canoe stern, so the whole thing kind of runs to a point in the back as well. And so this longitudinal stringer runs the entire length of the hull. And it's this stringer here that the basis, the ledge, that the floor for the whole boat that we stand on sits on top of. It's basically the underpinning. So not only is it giving rigidity to the hull, but it is a really cool basis or foundation to build off of. And you can see under here, this right here is another one. So the hull comes up and you can see this angle. This is vertical right here. This is like the angle of the hull coming up. And this is a stringer that this level is sitting on. So there's different levels of these stringers, depending on, whether it's like countertop space or floor space or, other areas of the boat. They ran these stringers, which I think it's just a really great way to build a very strong structure. You can actually see here how well they tabbed these bulkheads to the hull here. You can see how substantial the tabbing is. I mean, and I've seen where it comes up even more, like about a foot in other areas of the boat. You can see where they actually removed some material of wood, this shadow, and they did this substantial fiberglassing onto the hull. So these bulkheads are super, super strong. I have not seen one spot where there is a rotted bulkhead in the bilge area underneath any part of the flooring, because they took the time and really glassed these bulkheads in the right way and protected them from water, because that's something that'll almost ruin a boat or cause a lot of expensive work and time-consuming work. Anyway, I just wanted to take this opportunity and show you all some of the reasons why I absolutely love this boat and why I'm beginning to quickly love it more and more. Okay. So we are in fact going to have to bolt some boards to the wall. Do we have any wood around? Oh, there's some wood right outside on the dock. Is that still there?
Let me check. Here, hold this.
You know what I'm talking about?
What is it? Finders, keepers?
Yeah. Yeah, finders, keepers, losers, weepers. Yeah. That's what it is. Nice. This is like Sirocco or something like that. This looks like a really nice hardwood. We're gonna have to let it dry. All right, good day everyone. It is day number 2 of installing the water heater. And this is this really nice piece of hardwood. I think this is what we built the screens for Seawind out of, the companionway screens. Anyway, it's a nice tropical hardwood, and we had just enough to cut 2 pieces. So I'm making blocks because this corner, this outside aft corner, it wants to hit the hull here, and so I'm making these blocks that I'm going to actually screw these down to this floor here, and then this will be screwed to this piece of wood, and that's how we will mount that up, and then it gives plenty of clearance for the hull. The paint is chipping off. This is not really in good shape in here. It's solid, but the paint is just chipping off. And as much as I would love to paint, it's 100% humidity, literally 100% humidity right now. I don't think I would have good results, and then I'd have to try and remove paint anyway. So I'm gonna leave it as it is, and at a later date we're just gonna have to paint this locker. That's just kind of a matter-of-fact thing right now in this humidity.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Sometimes you just gotta whittle something down with a knife.
Watch your eyeballs.
So this is the only fitting we have on the boat to connect the inlet to the water heater. It does not work with the space provided. I couldn't push the water heater forward far enough to allow this connection to come up onto here. Actually, it goes this way, because this came right off the water heater, and so the connection was really close to the body of the water heater. So I went through all the fittings that the previous owners, Julian and Colin, had on the boat, and they actually have a 1/2-inch male by 1/2-inch female quarter turn ball valve, which in the case of a leaking water heater like we have, it's good to have a shutoff on your cold water inlet to the thing. So if it is a leaking water heater, you can shut this off, depressurize your hot side, and not have it leaking, and still have cold water throughout your boat or home. So I'm going to add this as a shutoff. These two fittings don't really match up. This is a pipe thread and this is a flare fitting. But what I found, they had a box of O-rings. You can see here, I'll shine my light. So this O-ring actually fits right down inside here. And unlike this side where you have the tapered cone of the flare fitting that's going to mate in here, this side was actually flat. So what I did was, with the knife, I flattened this surface here, and so now I'm also going to put some Teflon tape on here, but now this should be able to tighten down on that O-ring and hold the pressure. It's only like 40 pounds of pressure anyway in the boat. And then this is going to get this connection out away from the water heater, so then I can bring the pipe up and put it on.
Perfect.
And then we'll have a shutoff.
Great.
For the next time the water heater leaks. So,
nice.
Or if we want to keep the cold water on, and if we have like the shower hot water is leaking and I have to fix something, and then we have a shut off.
That's great.
So, yeah.
Thanks.
Shout out to you if you've made it this far. We really can't thank you all enough for watching our video. The easiest way you can support our channel is by subscribing. It's totally free. And of course, turning on notifications by clicking the bell so you don't miss any episodes. Or if you're someone interested in financially supporting our videos, you can head on over to patreon.com/sailingseawind. All right, we're ready to fire this thing up, test for leaks. I'm kind of expecting some, but hopefully not. Sorry, I'm blinding you, Katy.
Okay.
Okay, open the hot water in the sink.
And it's open?
Okay, and then we're gonna turn the water pressure breaker on. Okay, so we're pressurized to this valve here. And I don't feel any leaks, that's good. All right, I'm gonna open this valve.
Okay.
Okay, we are filling the tank. All right. Was it open that way? Yeah. You can come and just let it go down in the tank. You can hold it down so it doesn't spray. Rusty water from the pipe. All right, we're up to pressure. The pump shut off. All right. No leaks. All right. Nice. I guess the next thing to do is test the actual water here. So I'm gonna get my, here, can you hold this? Yeah, just hold it just like that, yeah. I was gonna say you could still keep scrolling on your computer if you wanted. All right, so.
I'm not just scrolling, I got a really nice comment on the financial analysis I did for my Cornell finance classes I'm taking.
Oh yeah, by the way, what are you doing?
Taking Cornell finance courses.
Pretty big deal.
2 down, 4 to go.
All right. Okay, so I'm gonna have you turn on the water heater breaker in just a second. It's on the AC side right there. Don't turn it on yet.
I didn't.
Okay.
My finger's ready, but I didn't.
Yeah, you ready to pull that trigger.
No,
All right,
I'm pretty chill.
Okay, so I'm gonna use my amp clamp. Amp clamp.
I'm gonna use my amp clamp.
I'm gonna use my amp clamp. All right. Ouch. Oh boy. Ouch. All right, so it's at 0. Okay, go ahead and turn the water heater breaker on and be ready to turn it off if I tell you real quick, because this is 110 volts.
3, 2, 1, on.
All right, 9.78 amps. That sounds pretty right for a 1500 watt element. No sparks, no smoke. I suppose we'll let this get up to temperature and test it out. Yeah, 9.8 amps.
Am I allowed to swoop then way back turn?
Yeah.
Or put the mattress back and stuff?
Of course.
Don't pull on them too hard, they hurt.
Oh, do they? How do they feel a little better? Aw, Katy's ears hurt. She thinks she might have got a little bit of a swimmer's ear in the pool. All right, we have officially done it, people. It is in. We have hot water. The thermostat has cycled off, so it is up to pressure. And we don't have any leaks, just checked again. So that's a pretty big deal. It is 100% installed. All I have to do is finish topping this thing off. I ran out of coolant. There's a WhatsApp group, so there's like, I don't know, what, a couple hundred people in the group or something. I messaged and said, hey, does anyone have any green coolant? I need a bit for my beta, and someone messaged back that they have a full gallon and it's unopened. And they were wanting to trade for something, and I asked, well, what do I have that you may need? And he said the only thing on his list right now is coffee and Baileys. We do not have any Baileys, but there was a full tin of sealed, what is this, 2 pounds of coffee. So I'm gonna go trade for coolant. Our first trade, what do you think, Katy? Yeah? All right, I'll be right back. Got the goods. You hear it. Just act like you're doing, yeah.
It always throws me off. I just said what a productive day we had because we got breakfast and we did laundry and like washed all the remaining towels and stuff that were like here when we got on the boat and they needed to wash because they smelled kind of mildewy. Finished the install of the water heater. I did a little band workout and did my work while you were doing stuff because I hate sitting around waiting for you to be like, can you do this or that? So I got my stuff done. Then I started, oh, I forgot. I found places for all of our camping gear, like good places. So I did that, and our boat's looking less like a garage in those spaces.
Wow, the V-berth is clear.
Yeah. And that one we have a suitcase and our dive bag.
Yeah.
That's it.
Nice.
I wiped everything with vinegar to like freshen up just because it's so humid. I don't want things like bug deterring and mold and mildew prevention. And that's that. So now we're going to take the hot water heater to the dumpster.
The old one that weighs like 100 pounds.
Yeah, it's so heavy.
All right, can you just carry it?
Yep, I got it.
Go ahead. It's heavy.
It's awkward too.
It is awkward, yeah. Help? Oh, okay.
That one's so good.
Alright. I got sand in my boots.
Yeah, I want to rinse off too. My hands.
I saw a gnarly spider back there. Don't know what it was.
Where the glass?
Katy made a pasta salad. Look at that. Wonderful ending to a wonderful day.
And
Got
that's
hot
what
water.
tomorrow is.
Tomorrow is our day off.
Rest.
Rest day. Well, do you have anything to say?
I'm hungry.
All right. See you all later.